everybody. My name is Puppetine from the Geeky Puppet Show here on the Geeky Puppet Show today to discuss NAOMI. But before we get into this recap and review of the new DC superhero show, let's go ahead and introduce my co-host. You can see his tag down there, and in the darkness, if you look closely, you will only see Froggy! Froggy?
Hey, how you doing?
Huh. Yes. So, me and Froggy have watched NAOMI. It is the newest DC show, like I said. Supergirl is gone, and they needed something to replace it. Well,
Yep.
this show is not a good successor to it. Wait,
to Supergirl?
No,
Are you
it's not a good
freaking kidding me?
successor.
This is better than Supergirl.
Exactly. Okay, but before we get into that, let me just go ahead and into the story of it. Let's go ahead and say this. If you read the 6-issue series of NAOMI,
You won.
Yeah, this is it. Because in this first episode, they just go ahead and follow directly along with the first 3? I'm not sure. Maybe first 2. I don't know. Maybe the reveal was a little more rushed than in the book, but
I don't know. Well, 6-issue books are able. Yeah, they reveal probably is much faster. You're only doing 6 issues, so they got to put the whole story.
But it's
this
by Mr. Bendis.
This is going to be like about a 12 or a 10 issue or 10 not 10 issue, but a 10 or 12. I don't know how many supposed to be in this episode.
Not sure
but
either.
They're probably going to stretch it out, and then they might add a little bit more stuff to it.
The first episode was ponderous and boring. If you read the book...
Wait, is that Carol Danvers saying that, or is that LK?
LK. Because this show isn't actually
I will say this. The first episode, it's, for a pilot episode, it was kind of dull. There wasn't really action. It was more mystery setting up, just more coming of... I was a setup saying who she is and what. But after watching the episode, I don't know why I'm supposed to care.
No.
Because it's weird. It's weird. Hear me out. It's a superhero show that does not take place in the other superhero world that exists in shows.
Because it exists outside the Arrowverse.
It exists, just like Superman and Lois. While we thought,
well, Superman and Lois does take place in the Arrowverse.
Yeah, but why was you said for John Diggle?
No, gosh.
John Diggle was on there.
Yes, because that was it's part of the Arrowverse.
Yes. So Superman and Lois is part of the Arrowverse.
Yes.
Just very loosely. Anyway.
So
I want to point out, this show is just weird putting it in here because most people would say, no, it's a superhero. It's a comic book show. But then it's like nothing really like, and so far, based on this first episode, it's really not like the end of the shows. There's no action. There's a suspense. She's more like Nancy Drew. This felt like more like a kid's Nancy Drew show. It wasn't really, there's not really much to go off of, just the fact that she's finding out that she's different. She lives in a small town. It's obviously there's a military base that her dad works at, So, and we're just basically set up the whole town. Basically that the town is kind of segregated. The towny people that live there first don't really like the military people, and the military kids don't really like the townies. It's clear. And then this girl is just basically like smacked up in the middle of it, and she's a big comic book nerd. Yeah. But other than that, it's like I really don't feel like it's.
We have an Ash on Comics. It's just like the comic book. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and start getting into this. You're going to find people that say this series is woke. They will use the term woke. I don't like using the term woke, personally, even though I just said it 3 times, but they will call this that, and they are wrong. There's nothing in this that is political, as it were. In fact, a lot of it, we were reading something beforehand, it was talking about normalization of
there's no preachy saying, like, if you're this, you're bad, there was nothing like that.
And
I will say this, and people will cry wolf because they established that her character right away that she's bisexual. She hasn't acted on it, but she likes boys and girls. And I gotta say though, that's a big step for the CW because you're either full on lesbian or you're straight. Most time it's as I said. So it's interesting to see they're going like this. For those who know, bisexual was supposed to be like kicked out of the whole entire group. Well, that was, I guess, I don't know if they ever did, but whatever. Anyway, getting back to the show, that was a minor thing. They didn't really focus on it that much. She's not really dating. She's still single. She broke up with her. She went on a date with a guy for 5 times. He still likes her. She kind of likes her other best friend, and then she also likes his other girl. And her dad calls her out on it. Her girl's like, "Hey, yeah, what's with all this crap? You know?" It's like she's like, "I'm just a kid. I'm 15 years old. I don't really care." It's like, I'm not trying to settle down. I do like social interests, but they're also my friends.
No, Naomi's supposed to be a year older than the Jordan and and Jonathan. So they're 15 in Superman and Lois. In this, she's 16.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it's just like the comic. In the comic, I guess she's gay too there, so it's not really a big of a stretch. Plus, it's on the CW. If you thought that they're gonna make her heterosexual after reading the comic. And especially when the producer got the green light from Bendis and said that she's going to keep it exactly just like the comic, but expand more on it, though.
Yeah. Well, I suppose. I mean,
it's not like you're going like hey, we're gonna have a story about Jonathan Kent, and then just totally change it and make him straight.
LK says it wasn't a political. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was political per se. There were woke elements in there because every character is.
It felt like. I want to point out, LK was talking about this last night in the Twitter chat. He was with our group, and I hadn't read it and I haven't watched the show. I just watched it about an hour ago, and I gotta say, he is kind of right. It felt like a really bad Nickelodeon kind of thing, Nancy Drew kind of like that. With a little bit of woke elements, but it wasn't like, overly. It's not like Supergirl or Batwoman, where they really throw it in your face. This was kind of there, but even then, the story wasn't really much of a story. It was like getting the first 5 minutes of a comic book, or the first 5 pages, and that's it. You're like, where's the rest? So the setup was kind of dull for being an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. When something has a character that is on some sort of, and I don't mean this in the traditional terms in which most people would use it, on a sort of spectrum. So you have, they are this color. They like this kind of person. I do not care. But they always try to push it to a point where, look at this. This is all I am. There's not that in this.
It's not
Naomi, I don't think she said one word about her being black. No. She just is. And it's something you accept. And that I can take. It's not like...
It kind of felt like the 90s, the old, not stereotypical, but what Hollywood perspective of what a black person is back in the 80s, like you ever watch like a house party, I think it was called, with Kid and Play, or any of those things, anything else urban style, like movies. She acted no different than them. She was kind of the stereotypical. She's not what you expect like today. You're like if the like you'd see in Batwoman, where it's completely different. She felt like a normal person.
Yeah, Ash says that he hated the book because it was boring nonsense about a young girl who thinks she's special until the end when she realizes she's basically a living god with unbelievable power. And there is, Ash is right here too. There's no issue with it. It's just not good, I would say. I don't think the story is good. I don't think there's anything in her life that's especially interesting. Everybody around her constantly supports her. She has nothing going against her.
I noticed it right away, and that's one of your woke things. Or actually, not just bad writing in general.
That's bad writing.
Yeah.
Because you have, listen, baby, you're so good. Oh, honey, don't you understand how good you are? Oh, and she has 5 friends I think it's about 5 friends. She's all romantically interested in,
except
other than one.
Yeah, except for the one that's kind of annoying. She's kind of like the Ned Leeds.
The Ned Leeds. Yeah, no, you're right. She's like Ned Leeds right there. But
her parents are overwhelmingly supporting. She's an only
Yep.
child. But there's also, you get a hint when you're watching this episode, that parents know more about her than they're letting her on. They're telling her about. She asks him, "Why am I wearing glasses? Where sometimes I can see better without my glasses." She's like, "Well, they say they lie to her, and I don't know if she bought this, but they said you have a degenerative eye syndrome. Basically your sight's going, so you need to have it slows down the process by wearing your glasses." But you find out later that she can zoom in and see things, up from a long distance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't read the comic. I scanned it, and I kind of got the concept of the synopsis. Plus I've watched other people's reviews over it. Action Comics had a review over Naomi, telling how much he loved it. You can go check out his video. I'm just kidding. He hated it.
LK says she is too perfect. Where does the growth come from? This is the equivalent of the 90s teen romance movies where the ugly girl takes off her glasses and suddenly she's beautiful and most popular.
She's all that. That's what this is.
That is exactly what this is. And if you like that, okay, that's you. I do not. And then obviously nobody in the comments right now prefers it.
It would make more sense. I mean, that if she would be more the outside, the nerd,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're a nerd. Like, oh, why don't you go aggressive? Like being bullied. That'd be a typical CW. That's what's really confusing. They're having her be the popular kid, which is totally opposite.
Because that's exactly like the book. Everybody around there is support. She doesn't have one negative figure in her life other than a car salesman in the series. That's what they've gone ahead and made him. A car salesman who says, "Oh, I know all about power. You don't understand," and blah 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 blah. There's no tension there, though. I was watching it, and you can tell that it was by Ava Day. What's her name?
The only tension I saw was her struggling with what she thinks are her powers, and she doesn't know because she's getting those migraines, and she passes out both times. That's the only thing I can see struggle here, But because she said she doesn't know who she really is, and she even there's clues along the way, and at the end, the guy she meets, the guy with the tattoos, he's like. And she's like, "Who are you?" And reveals he has, spoiler, for anyone who watches, but the guy in the tattoo shop, he has wings come on his back. They're like metallic wings. I'm like, is this a Tanagarian or just a crappy ripoff? Or is this whatever? And then she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "No, that's not the question." She's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, at the end, she's like, "Question is," like, he's like, she basically said, "You know the question." She's like, "Who am I?"
Dun, dun, dun.
Like I said, this felt so dull. This should have been like a half an hour thing for that. What they did is stretch it out for an hour. And this is what CW does. All shows do this. They stretch out plots for 45 minutes, which are usually a 5-minute plot. The problem is that this show doesn't do well.
The book doesn't do it either.
This should have been a show that should have been on during like July when nobody watches in summer. Because this literally how it feels. There actually was other shows like this, and they were scrapped.
Stargirl came out during the summer, and
there was another one, the helicopter pilot, though. There was one in that CW. I remember that about 2-3 years ago, and that one was scrapped because nobody liked it. It's basically like this is the show. If you went on the CW app and you're like, "Oh, let's watch this," you come across the show like, "Wait, this was never on live television." And then you find out it was.
There is no reason to hate Naomi per se.
No, I don't hate her I don't hate her personality.
The character
I just feel that there's no climax. There's a mystery, but it's not really that intriguing.
Somebody made a point earlier when they talk about how a story is set up. And I went to a convention and I talk about when I got to see Jim Shooter. He talks about this a lot and said how he read Miles Morales becoming Spider-Man, and he got about 6 issues, but he couldn't continue because everything that Bendis did to bring out Miles Morales was done in one single issue by Stan Lee back in the day. Because you are able to have story beats as they were. You're able to have it go. This is not long form storytelling. This is just dull form storytelling. And there's nothing wrong with NAOMI, like I said. There's nothing wrong with the characters in her life. There's just no reason to care.
That's the thing. Is like they show up where she's at a house party and all that stuff, and then she's, you know, it's basically setting it up. It's like, it just felt like there was no really hook. It's and I mean this. I mean, like I actually sat down and I watched it because I really wanted to see if it actually would be really bad or if it would be very political. I just want to see. I gave it an honest try, and I just don't feel hooked. I mean, we'll continue with episode 2 next week, but I just want to. Maybe it'll get better, but if I'm hearing that maybe the comic was not that great from you and from Ash, if it takes this long to set up to get the actual like a hook, man, that's bad. But to be fair though, WandaVision took me 3 episodes before I finally got like you actually wanted to watch it.
Yeah,
and that's a Marvel show. That's on CW.
You're crazy there.
I'm not crazy, but I am a frog.
You're a crazy frog.
Hop off it, bro. Getting back to here.
What do I you know, there are other shows that do this, and if I were to rate this, I would not rate it a 10. I wouldn't rate it a 1. I'd rate it just a. I think I would actually rate it like a 4 stars. Why? Because you have the acting there, and I didn't think the acting was particularly great, honestly, but that was because of the writing. This show is just not entertaining, and that's not anybody's fault on the show itself. It's the writing, as it were.
I don't know. I'm a person that doesn't really like dramas. I mean, I love action. That's what hooks me when things are constantly moving fast.
I can't say that I don't love drama because Superman and Lois is a drama.
Yeah, but there's still him. Like it's this other app that we'll talk about that if it happens. But he still does feats of like strength and stuff in order. There's awesome scenes. Him lifting up a bridge. Him, just fighting against other people. This is just her kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna, oh crap, headache. Oh, I'm passing out.
Yep, and then the wings at the end.
And then I see this person, and then I might, and then people, it just felt really weird. Just, this is like mediocre. It's like blah.
It was a meh for Froggy, and I would say that it was bad because of the content of the show. There's just no reason to care, and it's not like we said. There's nothing woke about the show at all.
Trend, and Naomi was trending for a little bit yesterday on Instagram and on Twitter, but like it's basically what you got on Supergirl. People are saying, "Oh my gosh, I love this show! It's so great," and it's your standard just bot tweets.
Yeah, because
it didn't feel
every time anything happened, people would be like, "Oh, her parents are hiding something."
But then you also get the same bot tweets for the people who hate it. The people are like, "This is the worst show ever. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's great." Now there might be a few people who feel that way, but there are people who don't even watch a show. No matter what comes out, they'll just say it's bad for clicks.
This does not.
Supergirl was way worse than this. This was just like, I wasn't even offended because it wasn't that even. It didn't say anything like, "Hey, orange." There was no bad. There was no DTS. There was no Trump or TDS. It's exciting. It's a show you could watch. Oh,
well, don't worry.
You can watch the show, but I'm just saying it's just.
I just don't know why you would.
Keep an open mind. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm optimistic. Maybe it'll get better. Because sometimes people do things and it makes me kind of intrigued. But sometimes it's just like watching a donkey show. Once you see it, it's like,
Yes. What? But
I
unlike
guess that's happening.
But unlike yes, it's just happening. But unlike the comic book, we actually are coming to an end. Well, the comic ended too, but you're going to feel it this time. So basically, you got our review of the show. It's just not that great. We talked about what happens in it, and that's all there is. There's really nothing more to say. Hopefully next week there's a little more of something there. We're going to be going live with Superman Lois pretty soon. Make sure to check us out then. I would also say to make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the show. If you enjoyed it, please let us know why. And if you hated it, let us know why too.
Tell us what your favorite parts. And if you hate it, tell me what you hated about it. Be specific. Don't just say it sucks because that means you didn't watch it.
Yeah, we want all the answers. All right. So for Froggy and myself, we're going to say one last thank you before we say bye.
And remember, eat a toast.